name is Kyrstine Harradence, and I'm the manager at Asteroid M Tattoo and manager, helper, part-time receptionist at Heroes and Villains. I've been really interested in body modification since a really young age. I remember when I was 12, one of my cousins had stretched earlobes, and I thought I was super smart and told him it was a really cool mirror trick, thinking that was exactly what it was. And he looked at me kind of smiled and said, "It's not a mirror trick," and he stuck his finger through his earlobe at me. And at the time I was slightly grossed out, but very intrigued, and it kind of snowballed after that for, you know, most of my teenage years and all of my adult life. Piercings, I think I'm at 23, but I might be wrong. As far as tattoos, my sleeve took about 57 hours, and I've got a couple of pieces on my feet, about 6 hours altogether for those, and some pieces on the tops of my legs that took maybe 6 hours total. I have a really large scarification chest piece that unfortunately we can't actually see right now. But it's very raised, it's very noticeable, and that's usually what I would get like stared at for or pointed at or that kind of thing. Like it's probably a good 1/4 inch higher than the rest of my skin in some places, and that took quite a while, and then after that it slowly kind of gets less red. The tissue tends to soften up quite a lot, and it does change over your life a lot more than like a tattoo or a piercing would, which is actually kind of cool and interesting to just see where it goes as time passes. I do, I have magnets in my fingers. I can actually feel electromagnetic fields. So I actually went into a camera store the other day, and you know how usually you walk into a store and there's the little kind of scanners on either side? Normally I don't really notice those. The demagnetizer on the counter with those little pins, that actually sets them off quite a bit. When it makes that weird noise, I can actually feel it. But walking into the camera store, the electromagnetic field on the scanners was so strong, I could feel it just walking through them, and I actually had to stop and kind of go around and do this, and everyone in the store was staring at me. And luckily my best friend was with me, and she has them too, so we're both standing there looking like complete weirdos. But it was really interesting, and I actually keep trying to get people I know to come in with me just so they can feel it. I have wanted to suspend since I was about 15, so that was about a decade ago now. I saw pictures on a blog called BME Zine. It's called Mod Blog, like body modification blog, obviously. And it was run by a guy named Shannon Larrett, and who has since passed away, but they would post pictures of it, and at the time I remember thinking, I can't believe somebody would do that, and I can't believe I want to do that. I didn't get to do my first suspension until about, I think, 2.5 years ago, but I was given about 40 minutes notice. Dan actually phoned me and said, "Hey, we're doing some suspensions tonight. Do you want to come? Would you like to go up?" And I paused for a minute, and I kind of sat there and I went, yeah, I really do. So I went home, changed my clothes, grabbed a Cliff Bar, and just drove over to where the guys were, Dan and Doug. And Dan did both of my piercings, and it was amazing, actually. We did it outside in a tree, and that was how I essentially got nicknamed the Suspension Fairy, which kind of has stuck, which is a little bit funny, but I'm totally cool with it. I'm kind of girly. But yeah, it was awesome, and I have been, for lack of a better term, hooked ever since. Puns! I've done a spinning beam, which is, again, usually 2 points in the top of your back, so 2 hooks, but you're on a movable beam with another person. So when they move, you move. It's kind of like a weird adult suspension carnival version of a seesaw, and it's a lot of fun. I wasn't totally sure what it was going to be like going into it, but I was really excited to try, and I loved it. Probably that I'm kind of crazy, usually that I hate my parents, that I'm probably like into self-harm, or that I'm suicidal or something. If I do tend to get stared at a lot, which I'm kind of used to. I do still get a little upset some days, but that's okay. Yeah, they probably think I'm a complete weirdo, which is really funny. My mom's always been really supportive, almost to a fault. My dad was pretty hesitant at first, but at this point, He is very happy to show off all of my different modifications to like his coworkers, his friends. He's happy to explain to people. He gets weird chain emails at work. Look at this crazy thing these kids are doing these days, and he's happy to explain, oh, you know, my daughter works in that industry, and that's an implant, and it works like this, and you know, these things happen in these areas and that kind of thing. It's super adorable, actually, just because he was so hesitant at first. But yeah, my parents are really accepting. They're very proud of me.